In the previous lecture, you understand how to work with OS module. In this lecture, we're going to understand the pprint and id function. So let's take a look at first what is pprint. The pprint module lets us print arbitrary data structure in Python to make them prettier, well formatted, and more readable. What it gives us is in a form we can use as input to the interpreter. The pprint module is going to help us to print a well formatted text on the console. Let me show you a very simple example to understand what is the use of this pprint module. So here I'm going to first import the pprint module inside this Python program. Here I'm going to say import and I'm going to specify pprint. I want to import the pprint method from this module. So here I'm going to say from pprint import pprint, right? Now, once I have this pprint, let me just create here a complex data. So let me just copy some data and put that here. You can notice this is a very complicated list. This data seems messy. I'm going to print this data using a print statement first, and then I will show you what is the use of this pprint method. So down here, I'm going to say here print, and then I'm going to print this data just like this. When I execute this file, I'm going to have the same result on my console. Now what I want to just format this data and make it more prettier. How do I do that? Using this pprint method, I can do that very easily. So what you need to do is you just need to get rid of this print statement, and instead of print you need to say here pprint just like this, and then specify here data. When you execute your file, you can notice you have different result. You can notice your data is now well formatted. You can now read all your data very easily. Now if you want, you can specify the width of the output as well using this pprint module. Let me show you. Let me just get rid of this data right from here and create a simple list here. So I'm going to simply create here a my list, and then I'm going to specify that my list inside this pprint. And now what I want, I'm going to just add here with argument to this pprint. So I'm going to specify here comma, and then to the second argument I'm going to specify width is equal to -1. I'm going to specify some width to this output. When I execute this file, you can notice I have some width to this output. You're free to specify any value here inside this width. The default value of this width is 80. In the previous lecture, you understand how you can use OS module. Now let me show you how pprint is going to help you to list all the files of your project. So let me show you how you can do that. Let me first import the OS module here. I'm going to say here import OS, and then in this pprint, inside this parenthesis, I'm going to just say os.list directory. Let me just get rid of this my list right from here. And now when I execute this file, all my files is now well formatted. I can see all my working files of my projects. So using this pprint, you can get the well formatted data very easily. Once you understand how you can use this pprint, let's just take a look at a very simple function, id. So let me just get rid of this statement, and now let's take a look at what is id. The id function used to return the identity of the object. This identity has to be unique and constant for this object during the lifetime. To understand the id, let's take a look at a very simple example. Here I'm going to create str1 is equal to, and I'm going to specify a value to it, daily. And then I'm going to simply print this str1. When I execute this file, you know that I'm going to have this result. But what if I wrap this str inside id function? Let me just get this str and put this inside this id function, just like this. If I just say here id, and inside it I'm going to specify this str, and when I execute this file, you can notice you have some numbers as a result. Now this is the unique id of this object. Python is going to create this object with a unique id, and the id of this object is this number. Now let me just create one more variable down here. Let me just create here str2 is equal to daily tuition, and let me just print it with id. Here I'm going to say id, and then I'm going to say str2. When I execute this file, you have different id to this object. So the Python will specify unique id to this object as well. Now what if I try to specify the same data to both these variables? If I just get rid of this tuition right from here and try to execute this file, then you can notice you have the same id to both your variables. So the Python will take this object and this object as equal. What if I just say here print id str1 is equal to id str2. When I execute this file, I'm going to have true as a result because both this ID have the same unique value. When you reload your file, the value is going to change. When I reload the file, you have the different value. Now just for that, what if I try to do the same thing with the list? So if I just down here create a list and try to print it using print statement here, and here I'm going to say id list1, and let me just access my first index just like this, and let me just execute this file. When I execute this file, I'm going to have the different unique ID to this first index. Let me just duplicate this statement, and here I'm going to say id2 just like this. Execute this file, and you can notice I have the different unique ID to this index as well. And now if you try to compare both this value, Python will going to return false as a result because Python will specify different unique ID to this different index. Now this ID function is going to help you to identify two different data types. Now for example, let's say if I just specify here 1, and if I just specify here 1 like this, then you can notice we have two different data types, but the values are same. If I try to compare both these data types, then I'm going to have false as a result because, as you know, this is a kind of string and this is a kind of integer. So Python will return false as a result because Python specify unique value to both these objects. If I specify here 1 just like this, then the Python will return true as a result because we have equal values to both these variables and the type is also equal. So when working with Python programs, you can use this ID to compare two equal values. Now just practice with this ID function and understand how it's work in Python. That is all for now. I will see you in the next one.